JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, Jamaicans directing crimes from overseas reported to U.S. law enforcement. Jamaican officials have shared with U.S. law enforcement a number of Jamaican criminals living in the North American country who are allegedly directing, soliciting, or financing crime in Jamaica. The information was shared during a meeting involving Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson, and the senior United States Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation (FIB) officials in Washington on Thursday. A media release from the Office of the Prime Minister (OPM) said during the meeting, the commissioner noted that closer cooperation will ensure that criminals do not feel they have a safe haven in the United States from which to sponsor crime in Jamaica.
The relationship obviously has been utilized more in terms of helping us with capacity building in our country, and of course we pay great attention to your requests for extradition, for your marshal services to identify fugitives, interdiction of drugs. At all levels we cooperate very well with the United States, but we intend to use the relationship, however, to try and tackle a part of the problem for which we have no reach, and that is the Jamaicans who have migrated to the United States and use the cover of their residence here to influence, solicit, and fund crime in Jamaica. And we have a list of them that we intend to pass on to you, but we would welcome your help and support in identifying, tracking, and prosecuting those persons, and potentially extraditing them back to Jamaica, though we would want you to keep them. 90% of the guns that we have, maybe Commissioner can give more details, are United States guns. Guns that we're discovering are less AK-47s and more AR-15s. So we are challenged to treat with that, and we definitely would need your help and support.
Meanwhile, Holness said, "We were assured that the United States is taking even greater steps to deal with the problem of illegal export of firearms, and we are pleased to note the passage of the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which creates a legal framework to interdict and prosecute persons illegally exporting guns from the United States." The OPM release noted that the bill was passed in June this year. Holness asked that Jamaican traffickers and guns destined for Jamaica be given priority attention under this new act. Thursday's high-level meeting of law enforcement and security agencies was convened to discuss the growing threat of transnational criminal gangs, organized criminal violence, and the trafficking of illegal guns into Jamaica. The OPM said the meeting reviewed existing programs and partnerships, identified gaps to be closed, and explored new opportunities to advance collaboration. Opportunities for further expansion of institutional and human resource capacity building and training were also explored, it added. 21-year-old man gunned down in Kendal, Manchester. Police are probing the murder of a man whose body was found with what appeared to be gunshot wounds in Kendal, Manchester on Thursday afternoon. A relative named the deceased as 21-year-old Sunil Mushet, a resident of Comfort District in the parish. Preliminary reports are that about 5 p.m., residents heard loud explosions and summoned the police. Mushet's body was subsequently found 50 meters from Kendal Boulevard on a Windalco private road. Statistics from the police show that up to Monday, December 5, Manchester recorded 49 murders since the start of the year, compared to 32 for the corresponding period last year. Teen among two charged with murder of 16-year-old boy. A teenage boy is among two people charged with Tuesday's killing of 16-year-old T1 Allen in North Parade, Kingston. Charged with murder is 18-year-old Siobhan Lawrence of Luke Lane, Kingston. He is jointly charged with a 15-year-old boy. Reports are that Allen and the 15-year-old boy had a dispute. The teen, along with Lawrence, allegedly attacked Allen and stabbed him several times. Allen was pronounced dead at hospital. The police were summoned and the attackers taken into custody. They were both charged following the recording of witness statements as well as caution statements. Their court date is being arranged. Man charged after leaving his ID at robbery scene. A man who ran leaving behind his identification card and cell phone at the scene of a crime in Knockpatrick, Manchester on October 3 has been charged with shopbreaking and larceny. Gavin Lewis, a 39-year-old of Exchange District in St. Anne, was charged after he gave a caution statement to the police indicating his role in the crime. Reports from the Mandeville police saw that a security company responded to an alarm trigger at a petrol service station in the area and summoned the police. When the team arrived, they saw men running from the building. Identification bearing Lewis's information and his cell phone were found at the scene. Cell site evidence put Lewis's phone at the scene during the period of the break-in. He was subsequently arrested and charged. His court date is being finalized. The police are searching for the other men who escaped. No prosecution for 14 cops flagged in 112 fatal shootings. 14 policemen are under scrutiny for their involvement in 30 of 129 fatal shootings over the one-year period ending June 2021. But more starkly, the same 14 have been flagged in 112 police-involved deaths between 2010 and June 30, 2021, according to records of the Independent Commission of Investigations INDECOM. One of the cops has reportedly killed 20 people in 11 years. The revelation was made in INDECOM's 2022 quarterly report, which was tabled in Parliament Tuesday. The police oversight body said that fatal shootings by the security forces remain at a critically high level in Jamaica. Highlighting key points in its report, INDECOM said that the 129 deaths occurred in 110 incidents between July 1, 2020 and June 2021. All persons shot and killed during that review period were men. 64 of the 110 incidents, 58%, occurred in Kingston, St. Andrew and St. Catherine. Given a further breakdown, the oversight body said that 250 police officers fired their weapons in the flagged encounters. A minimum of 1,950 rounds were fired at the 129 persons killed, INDECOM reported. Data from INDECOM also showed that a minimum 1,374 rounds were fired in incidents categorized as discharge of firearm missed target. The watchdog said that 19 of the 110 incidents were categorized as suspicious. Further, INDECOM reported that 19 of the 129 men shot and killed had no gun or other weapon, with at least 308 rounds fired at them. In 74 of the 110 incidents, 89 firearms were recovered. The police oversight body reported that 17 of the 129 men reported as being in possession of a weapon other than a gun. INDECOM also observed that no body-worn camera was cited as deployed in any of the 110 incidents. In a retrospective look at killings by the security forces, INDECOM said that for the 9 years preceding 2014, the number of security force-related deaths was always in excess of 200 annually. INDECOM argued that while there was an observable and significant decline in the period 2014 to 2016, there was an increase in 2017 and 2018 and a subsequently significant drop in 2019 to below 100 deaths. However, after 2019, there has been a gradual year-on-year increase in fatal shootings. The police oversight body said it is often cited that the volume of fatal shootings is a police response to violent crime and for which robust action is necessary against the perpetrators. The Commission pointed out that despite 3,105 security force-related fatal shootings from 2005 to 2021, the civilian homicide rate continues to increase. INDECOM acknowledged that any armed and dangerous criminal and gunman must be lawfully confronted by the police in defense of self or others. However, INDECOM argued that a narrow annual analysis demonstrates that the security force narrative of proportionality and necessity was not wholly accurate. It contended that in cases involving unarmed persons, those without a gun, the mentally ill, crossfire victims, females, persons shot in fleeing vehicles, unarmed escaping suspects, CCTV evidence, and survivors of police-involved shootings continue to provide alternative accounts. 2 suspects in Manchester robberies held in Clarendon. Head of the Manchester Police, Superintendent Shane McCullough, says 2 men were held and an illegal gun seized in connection with recent armed robberies committed in Manchester. The men were held in an operation in neighbouring Clarendon, the superintendent said. Coming out of this series of robberies that occurred over the last few days, an anti-robbery task force was formed, and that task force was specifically put together to track, investigate, and apprehend the persons involved in these series of robberies, he said on Thursday. We have struck success in this regard, as two of the men who were involved in the robberies were apprehended today in the Husband Store area of Clarendon. A gun was seized along the rented motor vehicle, a white Toyota Altis, reportedly attached to a car rental company in Clarendon that was used in what we believe to be two of the robberies that were committed, he added. On Tuesday night, gunmen robbed a gas station in Knockpatrick, south of Mandeville, where they held pump attendants hostage. On Wednesday, gunmen carried out a daring robbery Spring Cross Keys in southern Manchester. In that incident, 3 gunmen held up and robbed a restaurant, bar, lottery outlet, and the gas station in Cross Keys Square. A licensed firearm holder intervened and a shootout ensued, resulting in both men being shot. The licensed firearm holder underwent surgery and is said to be recovering. 50 people killed in traffic crashes in November, says RSU. A carnage filled in November has seen a worrying 50 people killed in motor vehicle crashes on the nation's roads. This is according to statistics released this week by the Ministry of Transport and Mining's Road Safety Unit RSU, which said the deaths resulted from 41 fatal motor vehicle collisions during the month. The number is identical to the 50 fatalities recorded in November 2018, with 42 fatal crashes. It is more than the 43 deaths recorded in November last year, and significantly more than the 30 recorded in November 2020. The RSU said 86% of those who perished in motor vehicle crashes last month were males. 18 of those who died were motorcyclists, 17 were drivers of private motor cars, and 10 were pedestrians. The parish of St. Anne accounted for 16% of the deaths with 8, while St. Andrew accounted for 14% or 7 deaths. The parishes of St. Catherine and Westmoreland each recorded 5 deaths, while Manchester and Clarendon had 4 each. Portland, Hanover, and St. James each saw 3 fatalities during the month under review, while Kingston, Trelawney, St. Mary, and St. Elizabeth each recorded 2 road deaths. There were no fatalities in St. Thomas. Meanwhile, the RSU said the main cause of traffic crashes and deaths was motorists proceeding at excessive speed with no regard for road conditions. A further breakdown of the statistics reveals the following. Motorcyclists accounted for 36% of the fatalities during November. Pedestrians accounted for 20% of the road users killed during the month. Private motor vehicle drivers accounted for 14%. Private motor vehicle passengers accounted for 8% of the road deaths. Pillion passengers accounted for 6%. Passengers of public motor vehicles accounted for 2%. Vulnerable road users, pedestrians, pedal cyclists, motorcyclists, and pillion passengers accounted for 62% of all road fatalities last month. In the meantime, 444 people have died in 386 fatal collisions since the start of the year. A total of 487 people were killed in 2021, a record number during the COVID-19 pandemic, which had lockdown days and curfew hours. In sports news, Glenmore and St. Catherine capture ISA under-19 netball titles. Glenmore High and St. Catherine High ruled supreme in the ISA Rural and Urban Schoolgirls Netball Finals at the National Indoor Sports Centre yesterday, after pulling off wins over Manchester High and Gainsted High, respectively, to win their first senior netball titles. Playing in their first ever Rural under-19 final, Glenmore led from start to finish with scores of 11-8, 18-7, 27-25, and 39-35. Glenmure's very tall players dominated the much shorter Manchester High players, and goal shooter Shanae Martin was in top form, scoring 29 goals from 34 attempts. She was assisted by goalkeeper Nikisha Powell with 10 from 14. Goalkeeper Fentonia Henry was named the most valuable player of the match. Goal shooter Tori Mendes with 25 goals from 43 attempts top scored for Manchester. Ryan Reid, the coach of Glenmure, was a very happy man at the end of the game. I'm extremely elated as this is my first under-19 title as a coach after winning at the under-14 and under-16 levels in the past, he said. Reid added that his players were determined to claim the win after seeing the under-16 team lose narrowly to Homo Technical. The girls were determined to go for the win after the juniors lost, and they were really pumped up and motivated. They also wanted to win for Annette Daly, mentor and part of the coaching staff, who recently had a death in her family. We did this also for the parish of Clarendon and for the Glenmore fraternity, led by our principal, Dr. Marsha Smalling, who has supported the program 100%, said Reid. New champions were also crowned in the urban area as defending champions Gainstead suffered their first defeat of the season. Despite a gallant fourth quarter from the defending champions, who were down by 6 goals in the third quarter, St. Catherine held on for a 26-23 win. Goalkeeper Kadeen Gordon was named most valuable player for St. Catherine, as goal shooter Kellyanne Hunter top scored with 22 from 28 and goal attacker Kayla Wright at 4 from 5. St. Catherine's coach Phyllis Thompson was on cloud 9 after her team's first success. "I'm feeling very elated. We have been working on this for years and finally we have done it. We have been working very hard all summer and the girls were confident they could have done it," Thompson said. Earlier, Homewood won the Rural Junior title and St. Hugh's were crowned Urban Junior champions. In a very close encounter for the Rural title favourites, Homewood had to dig deep to clip Glenmore 31-30. There were no problems for St. Hugh's, however, as they easily defeated the previously unbeaten Immaculate Conception High 31-22. Goal attacker Jada Ricketts scored 13 goals from 16 attempts, and goal shooter Rashida Brown ended with 18 from 23 for a Rural under-16 winners, Homewood. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.